No, I'll be also running the tracker as well.
Right.
Are you going to be helping out as well? If not, that's
I'll
cool.
try. I'm notoriously bad at actually maintaining it, but I'll do my best with it. So just syncing up the streams here real quick. Too spectacular in that first chest, but that is fine. You don't have to have something amazing in the first chest every time.
Yeah, and this is a race to catch from the beginning. It'll be exciting because I don't really, the times that I do race against ACM, I'm like, wow, how is he so tremendous? Teach me how you do it. So now I get to watch and commentate on how he does it. So take notes, guys. This is going to be, well, not really much of a tutorial, but it's going to be the best of the best I can imagine.
Yeah, ACM is one of the tiers of players where I'm like, no matter how good I am at my routing and stuff for this, I will not beat that player. You know, there's no way, because the execution is just so good. And yeah, I feel like there's a fair few tiers of players with this. Like, you've got your standard sort of speedrunners, if you've a hundo or mostly no major glitches, who haven't played as much rando and so don't quite have as much routing knowledge. Yeah. And then you've got, people like me, I suppose, who haven't done any speedruns whatsoever, but have done a ton of rando, and I generally consider myself alright at routing. So that's, like the two different styles will be good at different seeds depending on how free or otherwise they are. And then you have people like ACM who are godlike at both. And, that's the sort of player that you are not beating no matter what. But
yeah, the only way you can really take out this character, this guy ACM, is if he just makes some sort of fatal error in his run. I have only ever beaten him once, and it was because he done goofed on something. I don't remember what it was, but so you're just. But then at the same time, it's like, well, I'm not really racing the ACM. I'm racing someone else. I want to race him at his full potential. Or like Andy beat me once. Well, he's beat me several times, but one time he beat me because he hovered at Moldorn 2. And I'm like, well, that's fair. I can't be angry about that. I don't know how to hover, so. But yeah,
this is almost sounded like a Dragon Ball Z type thing. There is, I don't want to fight you unless you're at your full power.
Come back in 10 years. Oh, and the flippers right off the bat.
That is a good start.
So we can actually see different routing options right at the beginning as well. I mean, they'll probably still both go to Kakariko, but when they head on down to do like, Watergate, Swamp, whatever dam, whatever you want to call it, and then head on over to Mini Molder, and they can, you don't even have to fake flipper. They can just go straight for it.
That's a really good thing. And also, if they don't get the Pegasus boots before going down that way, swimming can actually be faster even going to the ice caves. So it's kind of interesting, because if you can actually not collide into walls like an idiot, then it is actually faster just swimming than walking. So
yeah, hitting those walls can really slow you down quite a bit.
Yeah,
I've even swim up waterfalls in this version.
Yeah, right. I've even seen some people actually use fake flippers going across to that, just going straight across to the right rather than walking the whole way. I've actually seen some people who do the bush setup for fake flippers actually use that to go across, just because it can be that much faster.
It's not a bad idea
if you execute it well.
Because I personally don't like to go over to Ice Rod unless I have the boots. So I'd like to actually time that out and see how much time save you have fake flippering over to Ice Rod rather than just walking it. So
I have had enough useful things in Ice Rod Cave that I just check it anyway. I've seen a few seeds in the tournament itself where it has been a bottleneck spot as well. So
see, I've only ever seen Red Rupee. I get Red Rupee 9 times out of 10 out of Ice Rod, so I'm like, well, that's not value.
So ACM not killing any of the snakes there at all. Realizing
go for that time.
Yeah, I suppose it kind of makes sense, because the likelihood of that location having something seems to be quite low, despite having an item dependency that is the Power Glove to get back in. Because even if the bomb's in the chest, I've been told that the logic still requires you to have power gloves in order to get
those 3
escape chests. Yeah,
really?
because
okay.
it's possible to even if you do have bombs, it's possible to skip them, right? You don't have to blow that up, and it would be really extreme, but there would be a case where you wouldn't be able to get a lift upgrade before having to check them.
That's not a bad idea to skip it then. I didn't realize that it takes into consideration requiring the power glove. Because you can't, can you go all the way back to escape after you've already done it, or is that a one-time deal? When you push the mantle out of the way, does it stay open, or can you go push it again?
No, I don't know if you can push it again. I have a feeling, but you can go.
It's a one-time deal. All right, well that explains it. You wouldn't want to be able to you wouldn't be able to soft lock yourself then. If it wasn't for it being power glove required. So very good information.
Here's one thing that ACN does differently. I've seen a couple of people do this, but here's one thing that's definitely different, of just going into Lost Woods rather than checking towards Lumberjack Cave and whatnot. This is not a bad idea. No, it's not, but this
is some bombs.
This is definitely different compared to, say, even what Crrool is doing now. This is what most people would do, is to go up, get the poultry here. Oh, nice!
Go get those other ones. What are you doing?
Did Crrool actually take a hit there at all, or is... I'm trying to think. Oh, no.
Unless that could be the first tier of the tree pull. It could be red coins or red rupees, so that's not impossible.
I think it is, because I don't think you can get out of the castle without killing at least 4 enemies, just from the required ones. So it might actually just be that's the blue tier, and then ACM just didn't get hit at all, which is amazing. And so he had the red tier, which was the small magic parts.
I do not know. I was not paying that much attention.
Yeah, it's hard.
You could always go back and watch and get that information.
Yeah, like you really wouldn't think of paying attention to something like that. That is just the way it goes. Is you really don't think of something that minor, because come on, everybody gets hit at least once during escape, right? Just by one of the RNG snakes.
Oh yeah, and that's the fighter sword has just it doesn't really cover much ground. It's so easy to miss that hitbox. It's just it's as bad as the hammer, and twice as weak, 3 times as weak. Yeah, so you would just expect that a hit gets taken, but obviously not in this case. So, and I suppose ACM did have like a 525 or something for his escape time. So even though you're not checking the stuff there, that's kind of crazy. Magic. I could see some sort of I could see like a fire rod really early now.
Oh, I hope. I can only hope that we have an early fire rod, because it is by far my favorite weapon and obviously utility combo in the game. Quartz magic fire rod is probably the greatest thing out of the randomizer, in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly, thinking back, it wasn't really that bad of an idea skipping Lumberjack Cave. It's nice having that knowledge, but without the requirements to complete, to open that section up, it's not a bad idea to go check that later. Maybe whilst checking Bumper Cave if you have the mirror.
Yeah! Mysterious Wool Chicken get!
Nice!
I never actually managed to set that up, because I always end up placing the bomb basically as soon as I get in the house, so I don't have time to grab a chicken and throw it. So it's
I don't know
just
how many frames you have to accomplish that. It seems to be pretty consistent, though.
Oh,
the blue mail. Beautiful work.
That's pretty good.
All right. Well, at this rate, when do you think our players are going to get a new sword? Because I'm hoping now. I think it'd be fun to have a fire rod, quarter magic, and then no better sword until the Dark World or something wacky like that. That would be cool.
That'd be kind of nice.
I want a quick seed, but at the same time, I want some entertainment.
I wouldn't mind seeing Master Sword in the Ice Rock Cave as the only sword for a while. I think that'd be kind of neat.
We actually had that in a race. I think it was either yesterday or the day before.
Yeah,
So
that doesn't
actually
surprise me. I've had every sword tier in there before, so...
And that's blue mail for Crrool.
So the library didn't have anything good. There was just
it was a single green, yeah.
Nice to get one of the two of those out of the way now.
Yeah, those could be so disappointing. Especially if you do like all of Spike Cave or Spiral Cave and all you get is a green Zora and all you get is a green rupee.
I've had that happen before as well.
Mostly frustrating. But then you're like, oh, well, everyone else is also having to deal with that as well. So.
Till you see everybody finish like 5 minutes early and as well, I guess they didn't check that place then.
Alright, and then ACM will more than likely be heading over to clear out Mini Moldorn Cave. Electing to skip that piece of heart, he doesn't need the health.
Yeah, considering all the double speed stuff that ACM does as well, I'm pretty sure this is a snail's pace in comparison, so not really going to need the extra safeties here.
Now, it's interesting that both players ended up skipping the bomb spot in Escape, as far as I know. So both players are going to have to make their way back.
Yeah, I guess just thinking about he's playing against Crrool was like, well, I really can't afford to try and farm here. There's just no time. Ooh, that's not bad. And
well, now they can go back and check.
Bottle for the sick kid too. That's not bad.
Oh, nice. I did not catch that one.
Yeah, red potion.
So do you think they will go back and check now? Because imagine there's some important stuff that they could find in Escape now. I mean, they could even find like the Titan's mitts, probably. I've seen them there.
Yeah, it's possible. 100 rupees on the left there, not too bad.
ACM, not a bad idea. Checking Hobo could easily be something required as well. We've seen lots of stuff from him, like the or a sword. I've gotten Temper Sword for him once. That's
I think I've had every sword from him as well, so it's been pretty good. So what do we got this time? We have Ether. Okay. You're a wizard, Hobo.
What you doing with that Ether medallion? Someone throw it off the bridge. Did you find it underwater?
That would be interesting.
Alright, we'll picking up his Ether medallion as well.
Yeah, just as you said, ACM is going to check the spot now, the grave.
It makes me, I'm interested. I guess he's playing off that if I don't get bombs before this wall, then I'm just gonna come back later. Not a bad choice. Let's see what kind of payoff he's gonna get. Burna and Flute. My goodness.
That is one of the better ones that I've seen in a while.
Now imagine if he had spent his time farming bombs and had gone into Kakariko with the flute in hand.
Yeah, he could have already
got from that. From both of them, actually.
Travel. Yep.
But yeah, it's crazy to see both players taking the exact same route at this point.
So I'm expecting the flute is going to get activated immediately, and then straight up to the mountain would be the logical place for me.
Yeah, now they have two ways to get up to Death Mountain with both the glove and the flute in hand. Hopefully Old Man will give us something more than just a little bit of love.
Yeah, so it's interesting because initially, before going back and checking the escape part there, you'd be thinking, well, there's two options. Either go and do that or just go straight to the mountain, because we know in the current logic how good the mountain is, even when you only get those two items and the information about the third. You almost always get something really good up there. So there was a question with that, and obviously the save quit spot is usually the reason I go up there without hookshot or anything. But this is nice because you can also check the sick kid now too. So
knocking out two items at the same time. So as far as I can tell, it looks like this is the direct routing that the game was asking them to do.
Yeah.
Assuming they didn't grind for bombs or anything like that. But now at the same time, it's like we're gonna go check Death Mountain where there's only two possible items. At this moment, there's only two possible items that they can get unless Old Man gives them hookshot. When we could go over to like Eastern Palace and check Sahasrarla's hut where there are 3 items, and then even Eastern Palace, which potentially could have 3 items. So it's all, a lot of times players would aim towards checking more chests, but at the same time with this current logic, Death Mountain seems to have a higher chance of giving you something good, as you had said.
Yeah.
Same with like the pyramid, or there's a ton of these little spots that always give off something really good. Oh baby, the Master Sword.
That is a really cool place.
That's a pretty good item, I'd say.
That's just so cool because the old man is just like, please save my daughter and everything. Here's the sword to do it with. That's just really cool. Just remembering some of the lore with the guy. It's like, my daughter was kidnapped by Acmlm for removing the seal on Ganon. Oh, the hammer's up there too. Okay.
So players will definitely be coming back for that once they get the mirror. Oh, and the shovel.
Yeah. Sorry, ACM, you've got to go around and get that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I heard you like fetch quests. Now, Crrool needs to watch out. He's only got 2 heart. He's only got 1 heart left, so he's got to be careful around this section. These boulders will still keep falling until he touches that ladder. Oh, God. Okay, all right.
So, the fun thing about the shovel here is I think because it is the first item out of the 2 in the Switch thing, it's gonna immediately boot the flute from the active item slot there. So just an entertaining little thing that kind of like with the bow and the silver arrows, how you've got to manually activate those regardless of which one you got first. It's just kind of cool that you see it in real time going, hey, I've got this flute now, it's gonna just boot this out. And
I think when ACM checked the map real quick, it looked like all Light World dungeons were crystals, I believe.
I did not even catch that. It was way too fast.
Think Hera was number 6. I'm gonna wait to confirm that if we get a second map check from our second player, Crrool. King Crrool. Cool.
So what do we got
I like
here?
to ask.
That's pretty good. Now we just need the mirror, and that's going to be set because with the mirror you can get the hammer, which lets you into the Dark World stuff.
Oh yeah, and having the flute makes it a real quick trip over to Eastern Palace to check the Hospital's hut.
Yeah, it's really, really nice having that.
Instead of having to start from your house and walk all the way over there. But yeah, early shovel, you can kind of bet that there's going to be something good in that dig spot. And there definitely was.
Despite all of this, it is still plausible that we might have to beat Aga just because no way of getting into Dark World beforehand. Unlikely.
We're still for those Titan mitts, or we know where the hammer is. If they can get the mirror early, then we will not need to do Aga.
Yeah.
Though
Zora is almost in play though.
What I know, Crrool checked Lumberjack Cave. Do you remember what it was?
I didn't see it. Also, this might be a really, really minor thing, and honestly, it really is. But every person that I see coming into Sasha's hut here just doesn't bomb. Like, you throw the bomb onto the right-hand side, then you can pick the pot up and not have to wait for the explosion. I never see anybody do that. I didn't even see ACN do that just now either. Like,
no, that's a good point.
You just kind of, it's just one of those really tiny things that most people think of at all, and it seems like a really nitpicky point to bring up, but I see it in almost every single race that nobody actually has thought about that, and it's always interesting just seeing, well, despite the rest of the amazing strategies and stuff people come up with, something as innocuous as that just doesn't end up getting considered at all.
You know, it's not a bad idea. I mean, and at the same time, like, as soon as you kind of get all of your execution and routing options, it's like down to a key, you know exactly what you're doing, like, then you can start focusing on these minor second saving options.
Yes.
And that being one of them is something always good to have in the back of your head. It doesn't make a huge change, but every little second counts, and the more time you can save overall, like, it adds up over time. So I will definitely consider that the next time I go, and we'll probably throw the bomb too far to the right and miss the bomb wall. But
it's actually quite generous as well. But oh, Crrool is farming here. This is interesting. Zora is coming into play early. Here's another little minor one. ACM's got full health at the moment, so I know he's muscle memorying with the guys there, but you could just use the sword beam and kill them immediately. So
is it a one-hit kill though, or
it's a two-hit kill, but it's really quick to throw the beam out.
Now, do you have to step somewhere in order to fake spawn them or spawn their invisible sprites?
Oh, the lamp there. Nah, it's the same spot as you would throw the pot if you throw the pot to the guy that's on the right. It's the same spot, and the other guy is directly behind you at that point.
Okay, so you just have to step there and then you
swing it twice. It's the same as sometimes people do it with a bow. That you swing. You use the bow on the right-hand one, and then you just turn around and use the bow on the left-hand one as well. If you've got a sword beam, then that's the same trick, but it's just quicker because the sword beam fast.
Good to know. I've seen players use fire rod.
Fire rod's another one. Yeah, I've never had fire rod coming into here, admittedly.
Or even silver arrows. I've seen that as well. So
just +5 bombs on the ledge there.
Yeah. Now here's a bit of a gamble. I mean, having the lamp early is nice. It's not like, required to beat it. And I'm sure ACM has plenty of experience doing dark rooms. But getting that early, and now he has that knowledge that, there's nothing super required inside Eastern.
Cool, just getting fireball spammed there. That was interesting. Just Don Marco in the mid the whole let we get the mushroom. Uh-oh.
We love fetch quests. Let's see what... I could easily see the mirror. I can see Titan's mitts at the witch's hut. And with the flute in hand, they can easily just fly on over there and check it real quick. Yeah,
it won't take long to do, which is good. Just a little bit of awkwardness around the menu there. I do not blame him. That menu is super janky right now.
Especially with so many few items and them scattered about. You're like, do I hit up? Do I hit left? Where do I go?
Places like that. Oh, red mail, okay.
Well, if they find butter like super early, then I'm going to be like, well, this is an easy C, guys. What do we got?
Oh, wow! Okay. That is super good, because they've already got moon pearl too, so
at this point,
is awesome.
We still need the mirror to get the hammer to get to the right side, but they can get to the right side of the Dark World with the flippers. They just have to take a really long way around. But interesting, Crrool heading straight to the Dark World now.
Here's one thing I would do slightly differently, though. I would go to the Mire area myself first. You still get to check what all the dungeons are. You get the 2 items around there, and if you need Mire to do, to actually clear the thing, you can check what the requirement is too. So you always have that in the back of your mind. I need this medallion here.
Just not a bad idea.
Tiny thing, but since you've already got the Titan's Mitt, I think that's the better first place. And no money.
No money. He's gonna hopefully find some rupees in his trip. Oh, here we go.
So it turns out Pendant for Mire. I saw blue Pendant there.
Skull is green, Pendant for Mire?
Yeah,
and I think,
Pendant.
Was it Pod was the other one?
I think so, because I'm pretty sure I saw Crystal 1 was at T-Rock. So ACM on his fetch questing now as well.
Yeah, just a minor difference in choices. ACM checking both Eastern and what he could outside of Desert Palace. That red mail is very nice, but...
ACM not swimming up the top there either. Oh well. You wouldn't expect to even think about that, though, because normally you both have Pegasus boots and no flippers going up to it. So, again, it's these little tiny things that you just sort of pick up. And even if you're not the most proficient player ever, you can still sort of think about it and go, oh yeah, that's kind of neat. I maybe should try and do that. Good job on Crrool here, not going towards the shovel game because he doesn't have any money. So... good job thinking of that. I've seen a couple of people go there without having enough to actually do it. So
yeah.
Ooh,
the man from the tree kid.
That is so good. Maybe he was unfortunately looking at his own turning into a tree reflection there. It's kind of morbid, but you know.
So yeah, here's the crazy thing right here. Like routing options has given Crrool a bit of a lead, especially now with that bug net in hand. Let me talk about that one. So yeah, it just goes to show like how quickly the game can completely change based on one gamble versus the other.
Yeah.
ACM gambling on Eastern Palace because we've had a lot of seeds where something good was inside Eastern Palace despite not being able to finish it. And Lantern is still nice to have, but it's no boots or, you know...
It is a good fire source in case Hera needs to be later. Oh, yeah, so...
Pod was the other pendant.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. don't need to worry about Crrool to do that place in the dark, in case he doesn't check Eastern for a while. Oh, ACM doesn't have enough money either!
That's Tempered Sword from the generous guy. Hype Cave's looking pretty hype at this point. Can it get even hyper, though?
So we are playing with progressive swords and maps and everything. It's got the book as well!
And now he's got some rupees. He can... Now, this is still the same logic. It hasn't been fixed yet, but you can go to the chess game and play it twice to get some free rupees. Now, Crrool's probably going to head up to go get the hammer. I
would have checked Bombos whilst he was there.
Yeah,
he was in the rough sort of area. He could have checked Bombos and actually just knock that out of the way too. I can understand maybe why not, because I've seen a lot of people like to combine that with the purple chest, but when you've got the flute, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And when
because you could just use the flute to knock out purple chest.
Yeah, and he's already done
entirely.
He's already done the sort of item bit in the Haunted Grove area, so you're just walking for the sake of walking. Point. Anyway, ACM in Thievestown. Interesting choice just now, considering we know where the hammer is, so it's not as if there is any illusion that he'll be able to get absolutely every item here.
Yeah, well, he's still looking for that mirror. Hoping for the best. He's going to go with a Death Warp to get him out of here quicker. Not a bad choice. It's interesting to see that ACM is going for checking dungeons as opposed to checking overworld, which just goes to show you, you never know which one's going to pay off. Sometimes everything's in the overworld, sometimes everything's in a dungeon. So hopefully he makes his way down to Tree Kid to go get that mirror.
Yeah,
he's probably going to farm some rupees from the chess game right now.
Oh, he got lucky enough to do it, though, because it's not guaranteed to get money on the first time through, so...
And he's going to do it again, just so he has enough to do not only digging game, but also to go in a pod, if he has to. Not a bad choice.
Even then, Crystals 5 and 6, I believe, are in play, per se, so it might be plausible that the Fat Fairy is necessary at some stage.
Good point. Very good point.
Meanwhile, not really a whole lot out of the top of the mountain for Crrool at the moment. Doing Hera, of course, because it is required, and you may as well. He's taking a slight gamble off it having not gone to Eastern because he doesn't have a fire source, but naturally Big Key has been nice to him because it usually is, so usually don't have to go down to the basement to get the Big Key anymore.
Yeah, so he's hoping he grabs his 3 items from Hera before having to trek down to the basement, because otherwise he's got 3 chances left. 2 chances, actually. So at this point, it is, I believe the basement will be required.
Haha, just a regular heart piece out of the game.
And someone in chat is saying that ACM lost quite a few placements in a race due to not checking Eastern early. So
yeah,
that's probably why he checked it. I've also been in that. I think I've had not only I've had a weekly where I lost a bunch of placements because the boots were in Big Chest in Eastern, and I didn't check that right away, and boots was kind of the gatekeeper for everything else, so...
Mirror pickup for ACM there. I am an advocate of checking Eastern early most of the time. Like, it depends on what else you get at the moment. If you get items to go elsewhere, then I usually will. Like, I think in both of my 2 out of 3 of my tournament races, I didn't check it early. One I had to because I didn't have a whole lot else. But the general thing is, I honestly think it's worth it if you don't have much else of progression by the time you get round to it. You know, you've checked Kakariko, checked down the bottom, you've gone to Sasha because that's where you anyway, and you haven't really gotten anything yet, then I think it's worth it to check it early. So, and it'll probably be more worth it when the new logic comes in and there isn't quite so much item bias as far as more likely to go progression item into new item there and such.
So we have here Crrool picking up his first crystal. We've got a crystal, guys, right before sub 30 minutes. So
yeah,
Crrool heading inside now with the hammer in hand and
quarter magic cane burner. Oh man,
makes this a lot easier.
less than half that magic bar is going to get used up doing this. So ACM getting the hammer.
Now this will be fun. The thing is, ACM did not have the book.
Oh,
he did not check
there's butter!
What do you get? You got the butter?
You got the butter!
Oh my gosh.
Progressive sword complete!
He just needs to go get the red mail and then he'd be set. Wow. So ACM did not get to check Ether since he didn't check Hype Cave and get the book, but he does have the lantern to check the item in the basement, so that could be a major item that Crrool's gonna have to come back and get at some point once he gets the fire rod or the lantern.
Yeah, I actually didn't notice that ACM didn't go to the Hype Cave first until you mentioned that. That's interesting. Because that's going to make Moldorm slightly slower as well. I mean, you can use the hammer, sure, but a hammer is awkward. And even then, Tempered Sword is still faster because you can get Gold Sword damage out of it with a spin. So one spin, one slash, that's all it takes. So...
Yeah. Alright, well, cool. With the hammer in hand, can now finally go check out East Side of Death Mountain. And with the items required to get into the Dark World over here, he can check a lot of the chests, not all of them, because he doesn't have the boots to bonk to get the first item in Hookshot Cave, nor the hookshot to get the rest of the items in Hookshot Cave. And he also has to walk Spiral Cave.
Yeah,
very
always
slow.
annoying.
Until you get the boots from Spiral Cave.
Every time you get them out of there. I do like ACM just going the default route there rather than doing the bomb jump because it's possible, obviously, but without the boots, but it is like a 2-pixel window or something, and if you fail it, then you are going 2 floors down and wasting a lot of time.
And the problem is, without the boots, he can't bonk back, so he'd have to fall down regardless. So.
Yep. Well. Yeah. Would you with the bomb jump?
Mm-hmm. Because it'll hit the little start platform on the ground and move the thing back, so you wouldn't be able to hit it again.
But then, wouldn't that still happen in normal play as well?
No, because when you drop from above, you walk straight down, and then the platform's like...
No, I mean in No Major Glitches stuff.
Normally they have the boots by then.
Yeah, but...
So they would just bonk back, but when you bonk, it doesn't do it. You need a visual. You need a visual.
In the meantime, Kate and Samari are going in the light side of Death Mountain here.
And here we're gonna go see what's in the basement of Hera. Hoping for something big. Now that we know where Kane is, though, we could see what? Fire Rod, Hookshot, Boots even? Ooh, Boots would be great.
Oh, there's Quake.
Quake medallion in hand, nice. Anything else? Just Quake. Good to have. We don't know what's required for Meyer and T-Rock, so...
And even at that, Candace Samara is pretty much a worthwhile cave, in my opinion. Just by itself.
I mean, T-Rock is a crystal, while Meyer isn't, but we need the Candace Samara to do both those dungeons regardless.
Yep.
So, good to have. As well as checking a lot of G-Tower, so... Candace Samara is kind of up there with one of those required items, like the bow.
Sadly, ACM getting hit by the second last tile there meant that he couldn't use the sword beam to quick kill the last tile before he came over. Oh, just 5 rupees too. Ouch.
Yeah, that hurts. I wonder if Crrool is ever going to make his way back inside Hera to check that last item, or if he's just going to say, nah, it's probably nothing at this point.
Well, having checked the rest of the mountain, I think that's only going to happen if we see like a last item required type situation, like Ice Rod. If Ice Rod doesn't show up before coming back up the mountain. Although, having said that, Hookshot Cave cannot be checked at the moment, so...
Nope.
I would have seen what you need for...
T-Rock, yeah. But... I mean, having 2 of the 3 medallions is nice, but having all that knowledge...
Number of times where it is...
What if T-Rock is bombos?
The number of times where it is the 1 medallion that you don't have now.
Good play by Crrool heading over to Meyer now.
Yeah, this is
especially
good.
with the mirror in hand, he can finally check Checkerboard Cave as well.
So now he is seeing, yep, this is what crystal layout is in Dark World.
Alright, what do we got? Anything good? These players are definitely both looking for those boots. They like that speed. Walking everywhere is pretty boring.
I've had Pegasus boots where Crrool is just now, actually, and I think that was in one of my races in the tournament.
It's not a bad place. I mean, especially with Flute in Escape. I mean, yeah, of course you still need like Titan mitts and all that junk, whatever, all those other items. Lantern was in Eastern Palace.
Yes.
All right, let's see. Checkerboard Cave. I've had Canis Maria in here.
I've had Moon Pearl in here 3 times. Ice Rod!
The Ice Rod! Alright, well, it was definitely worth something. We are going to need that Ice Rod, and that Ice Rod has always been the most peskiest of items to find.
The Ice Rod is my least
required
favorite
item.
Yeah, the Ice Rod is by far my least favorite item in the game because of that. It's not even a question of its use, because honestly, it's pretty decent against bosses. It tends to do the same damage as Fire Rod, but the fact that it is only actually required for one boss means it can be literally anywhere in the logic except for that one boss in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, Orangey Tower. So,
and the number of times where it is on the Eye Bridge, as Crrool picks up the red mail here, the number of times it's on the Eye Bridge or in the Mimic Cave or something, and you've basically spent 3/4 of an hour going through all of the Pendant dungeons and all the rest of the stuff. I have words for that, Rod.
Right, no, I'm there with you. My first race with that okay guy, or the okay guy.
That okay guy.
He's that okay guy, alright? I took a gamble on where all I needed was Ice Rod, and it was in the last dang chest in Turtle Rock before Trinex. The worst possible place. Ridiculous. But yeah, ACM picking up his Tempered Sword and book finally from Hype Cave. With everything in hand, he could go inside Desert Palace and check a few items. He doesn't have the boots, but I could see the boots in there right now. But it looks like he's going to hit up Mire, where he's going to find himself an Ice Rod. Yeah, and he does have the mirrors, so it's very easy to do that after the fact. Just go back and check the stuff in Desert Palace. So, no problem with that. Taking a nice bath in Swampland there. Was that Quake or Bombos for Mire? Oh, I was checked it so quick. Just looking at Crrool entering Thieves Town there. Yeah, and both players will have to go back into Thieves Town now that they have the hammer in hand. ACM OM already checking the first 4 chests, but... And then Death Warping out, so... Ooh, yeah, now this is a good choice right here. Stopping inside Desert Palace. Now, we talked about Light World dungeons being high probability of having stuff, whether you can finish them or not. And I always say it's worth checking, because you never know what you're going to get inside here. Oh, yikes. Ooh, that's rough. Need the Pegasus boots for stuff, though. Yeah, for some reason, this place seems to have a massive probability of stuff, despite only having 2 items in here. It's because of the dependency, and that is rough. You need the big key to get the small key in order to go to the other side of the dungeon. That is really, really rough. Plus, the 50 rupees is a useless item as far as progression goes, so... That's like double rough. There's only 1 item left in there. Chances are, map and compass are going to be on the side you need that small key for, just to troll you even further. I know it happens to me every time this ends up coming up, so... So now I'm starting to think, well, where are those dang boots? Where do you think they're at? I am hoping Blind has them. I could see that. Blind seems to be holding out on a lot of items lately. Whether it's like silver arrows or the cane or the lantern, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, ACM gonna be probably following closely behind, heading right into Thieves to knock that out. But I'm still looking for, well, Skullwoods is a pendant dungeon, but it is the green pendant, and Skullwoods is also a good place to check for items. In my experience. Yeah, I've had a couple of races, and again in the tournament as well, which had something locked in there. So what do you reckon of ACM just checking those first 4 chests the first time you... Like, what is... It's not a bad play. I've done it myself. I usually will check the first 4 chests, looking for that hammer. I've gotten a hammer in the first 4. Now, the problem is, there are 4 items in Thieves, and the first 4 chests, I think, always hold at least the big key and sometimes the big key and a small key. So you're only going to be able to check 2 of the items, and then you could just come back later and knock it out. Now, sometimes I like to just go ahead and finish the dungeon if I can, and hope that the big chest doesn't have something required. You can do it either way, but we've seen a lot of players like skip the big chest and then have to come back.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's required, sometimes it's not, but having that one item left is always going to be in the back of your mind while you're checking overworld and not finding stuff.
So, knowing where the hammer was in this particular scene, what would you have thought of just doing the dungeon but not actually getting the small key in that top part first? Because I don't think they've come across the small... I think they have come across the small key in the chest at the start, right? So, you know, just going straight across, using that small key from the chest to open the door, and then when you go fight blind, picking up the pot as you're taking her in.
Oh. You know, I never really thought about that. I guess I'm banking on still possibly finding the hammer, like possibly next to blind.
Yeah, but in this case, we know where we knew where the hammer
having
was,
known where the hammer was, that's a good. There's another few seconds you could have saved right there. So that's a. Oh, and the small key was actually right next to blind. So sometimes you don't get a small key at the beginning. So
yeah, I actually have had one seed where luckily it was a pendant dungeon too this time. But I have had within the first 5 chests, that includes the one at the top where you bomb the thing. I have had fire up there. Wow,
well,
so ACM would have had
thing.
to come back anyway. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good thing they came back. That's a.
Well, there goes my idea, but yeah.
No, you still make a good point. You know, it's still something interesting to think about. I always thought the first 4 chests were guaranteed to be both have one big. It's always guaranteed to have the big key, but I thought it was also guaranteed to have a small key. But now I just got proved wrong. I think it's a higher probability, but
it is because I mean. You've got 3 chests that could have that small key, and then there's only 2 other chests in the dungeon that can have said small key, because you need that small key to get to the big chest, so it can't be in there. And yeah, basically, it's unlikely to miss it beforehand, but it's definitely possible. And I have had, as I was saying, including the chest you bombed the floor to expose blind later on, I have had every item within the dungeon by then. So map and compass would have been from blind and the big chest, respectively.
Blind hold on to the invisibility cape. Now I want to stop for a second and talk about that play of using the Cane of Burna with quarter magic to do that.
Yeah?
In my opinion, much slower, especially with the lag frames from using that. But it was pretty interesting to watch him just stand there while blind just, you know, basically killed him or herself walking into the Cane of Burna.
It's a question of, confidence in execution, right? If you had a fire or mirror shield by now, then you probably wouldn't need to do that. But
I mean, with red mail, and you know, almost a full set of hearts or full row of hearts. I still feel like it was a better play to go ahead and, you know, because I also noticed that he missed like the first when blind first spawns. It didn't do any damage right at the beginning. Like it waited until he got to the top part, so. You ended up missing a few of the like early hits to get that first early cycle. So
right, I think the full row of hearts is a better argument because the fireballs do set damage. So even when you have red mail, they still do a harder damage. So yeah, although blind herself, itself does less damage with the mail, you're still taking a full heart if you get hit by a fireball. But when you have 10 hearts, you usually take maybe 2 hits in the thing, so it's normally fine. But definitely interesting seeing how different people approach stuff. Yeah. Like going up to the Cape Cave. Nothing at the Cape Cave here. ACM hasn't checked the lumberjacks yet, so. And
now we'll finally get to see because we missed it, and we've got the blue boomerang from the
counterfeit stick production.
I wonder how long they've been working on that blue boomerang.
All of 10 minutes.
And without magic powder, they can't check the bat. And it's 300 rupees up on top of Lumberjack Cave, so definitely not worth it.
Hey. No, when you have access to all the stuff otherwise. The only thing is, and we've seen it in a few races, you need to remember to go and check the pyramid item as you go.
I think my last race, it came down to one player not checking the pyramid for the longest time, and then they finally did, which brought them back in the lead, but we were kept on our toes the entirety of the race, wondering if they were ever going to actually remember to check it, and it was because of getting both the Crystal 5 and 6 that they're like, well, I'll go do Fat Fairy, and then I'll make my way up there.
I like the location of the magic powder there. That's pretty good, being at Purple Chest.
Kind of trolly, but kind of funny at the same time.
It's just interesting with the positioning of that Dark World portal, forcing the transition there because the Dark World hasn't been re-entered.
Oh, and we got Bombos north of Graveyard. All right.
That's pretty good.
Now, I don't remember if either player checked T-Rock to see what's required.
Not to my knowledge.
So this could pay off.
I mean, ACM has all the medallions now, so that's...
So it doesn't matter what it is. It's going to be one of those three. And Batcave
unless
not coming
there's
through.
secretly a fourth one. What was the curse from the bat here?
It was a arrow upgrade.
Oh, so we're playing Link's Awakening now. Okay.
Yeah, clearly. All right, let's see what we got over here. Over at Quake Fish. What do you think he's holding on to?
I want to see the hook shot.
We're still looking for the hook shot. We're looking for the bow. We're looking for the boots. And a shield would be nice, maybe.
That would be so crazy if the Pegasus Woods were here. That would just be ridiculous as a placement. You've had to go so far out of your way to get here.
Yeah.
Have something that slightly speeds you. Fun.
Looking for these?
Oh, that is amazing. Oh, right. Wow. Okay.
Well, that alone is gonna help him. He's gonna be zooming around now. That's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. I can see him heading to the pyramid now, and pyramid also being a location that definitely has a good item probability chance of having something required. We're still looking for that bow so we can knock out Eastern Palace and maybe, if necessary, step inside pod. But this is looking like a pendant seedless so far. Pendant seedless. Pendantless seed. There you go. Sorry.
We'll get there. I like how Crrool dug up the heart piece and is just like, no, I don't want that.
I'm good.
Speaking of heart pieces, ACM is definitely all can't stop, won't stop.
All right, hook shot. Hook shot is gonna be Pendant Sahasrara. Hook shot. Calling it.
Ooh, that'd be neat.
Is he gonna go back and share? Or where is he heading into Mire now?
Could do. Has all the stuff to do it. Or Desert.
Oh, he's gonna go. Yeah. Oh no. This is Mire is a pendant dungeon. He's gonna go ahead inside Desert Palace and knock the rest of that dungeon out.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to go into a two item pendant dungeon right now, especially when it's not even green pendant. So. And
taking the back door to get into Desert Palace is also a nice quicker route. So.
It is a bit of a shame having to do it this way around just because of being a pendant. Uh-oh.
It's time for Ice Palace.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, I personally don't like going into Ice Palace without being in Go mode, because I like just doing the NMG route for it. The less time I spend in Ice Palace, the less time I spend going crazy, so...
I perfectly accept that. But at the same time, if you have a good strategy for how to get around this place, it can actually be quite fun to do. Which I know sounds oxymoronic because it's ice physics and fun, but there are actually some really things that you can do that do make it out quite nicely.
It also depends on if you get a small key early, that kind of changes the entirety of the route.
Like that.
Speaking of which, there you go. You got the nicest Ice Palace ever. How lovely.
The nicest palace ever, yes.
Oh.
I had to, I'm sorry.
Oh wow, and there we have it. The two items on the right side were both the dungeon map and a compass.
Didn't I say that was gonna happen?
Yeah, so that means Lamela has to be holding the last item. Since the first one was 50 rupees, so... That's funny.
So there's another thing I didn't really mention with the stuff there is just the way that Crrool entered the room with the switch that you have to press, the switch and the ducks, that if you actually hold No, assuming you have the Pegasus boots, of course he doesn't. Assuming that you have the Pegasus boots going in there, if you hold the sword button during the transition and charge the spin attack, then you can kill the 2 ducks on the next to the pots before breaking them, and that just reduces the lag in the room, because for whatever reason, when you pick that pot up, it lags the room to all heck, so...
Too many ducks.
Alright, so you're gonna see the ball jump here. Oh, ouch.
Keep that in mind. Oftentimes I'll have the hookshot by this point, so I'll just like hookshot to that pot and then kill, or at least slash one of the penguins away from the pot so he doesn't smack me when I pick it up.
That's interesting. I haven't really thought about that.
And Fire Rod on Landmullen makes super quick work of it. Are we gonna get the bow here?
No, just a beetle. Yeah, I always called these beetles, and then it's obviously now beetle because of the credits and whatnot.
The golden beetle?
Yeah, I mean it's a bee in a bottle.
Oh, so bee bottle. I got it. It took me like 1 second. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I realized
it's like, oh yeah,
what you were going with, and yeah, it's pretty funny. All right, we need. So we're still looking for the boots for Crrool. We need him to head up to Quakefish, and we just hope that he makes his way there. Our player's potentially high-fiving in Ice Palace.
Yeah, that's interesting. I suppose there's not too many other locations, especially for ACM, to check at the moment that aren't Pendant dungeons.
Well, I mean, I feel like both players are on the mindset that they want to do T-Rock last before heading over to G-Tower, just because it's the most convenient. But with G-Tower having 5 items, it could be a good location.
It is possible that the hookshot is in there.
That would be pretty whack. Not gonna lie. Alright, still holding our breaths that Ice Palace actually pays off and has something. Now, when do you think, if at all, if Ice Palace does not end up having anything, do you think our players are going to take a step inside Pod at all? Because Pod is a good place for finding stuff. Honestly, actually, in the previous race I found both the hookshot and the bow in Palace of Darkness. So
I have a feeling that's the next place that ACM will go and check. Oh, whoa!
Never mind. There's the hookshot.
All right then.
You think? Oh, I could easily see now. At this point, I could see the bow being inside Hookshot Cave. That'd be a little trolly, but not a bad place to check. And then if the players were to go up there and check Hookshot Cave, do you think they'd just head on over and do T-Rock regardless?
I was going to ask that same question because I honestly would. I would just knock it out whilst I'm up there, because when you have bow, at least for ACM, if you got the bow up there, then he would be in go mode. So
that's a good point.
At that stage, you know that you don't need to check any of the stuff in T-Rock unless you need the small key. So I honestly would if I was in that position, but that of course depends on whether or not it is there, and whether or not, Crrool has the rest of the items before going up there.
Buttersword making quick work of Cold Stare.
Yeah.
Even missing the little corner, keeping them in the corner.
Yeah, it can be kind of tricky to maintain it after the first wave. I have seen it done, and I think I've done it once, even with Master Sword. That's mostly just because of the cape, though. So it's really tough to keep him in that corner. I'm not used to it. Oh, so a safe quit instead of the usual mirror flute out there.
Some people like to save and quit. No problem with that.
Yeah. So, yeah, this makes sense going in now. Swamp Palace is required, right? So, yeah, you can't actually hookshot that rock. That's weird.
And hookshot for ACM. Beautiful.
Interesting that ACM is also using this bomb thing here and not just using the hookshot to get to the big chest. Especially for ACM, because he has the boots. So if you actually do the hookshot clip on the thing there, you can push that middle block down and you can just straight dash rather than having to go up and round it again.
It's all about them second time saves. Now at this point, I don't think Crrool has been to Pyramid and so he might be checking that, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, he's making his way up to Quakefish.
Yeah, I think what he's gonna do is he's gonna check the pyramid. He's gonna go Quakefish, and then he might go north side of the Dark World from there, and that would obviously lead into Bombos. But that'd be my sort of logic here.
Do you remember where he got the butter sword? Was it? Because I sure don't.
Ouch. Well, he hasn't checked the thing. That is actually a good question.
He's skipping out on Quakefish.
Oh yeah, it was
Hookshot
Spike
Cave.
Cave. Yeah.
Oh, Spike Cave.
That's one place.
That's a good prize for for Spike Cave.
It is. It is.
I would take a butter sword for my trouble. Now, he really needs Hookshot Cave to pay off. He's still looking for those boots. The thing is, like, if you're at Pyramid and you don't feel like checking Quakefish, like, what point are you gonna check Quakefish then?
Yeah.
Because that's like the most convenient area to be to go check Quakefish, because it's the closest you're gonna be.
I mean, he could do what ACM did, which is to check north side of Dark World and then do Quakefish.
That's possible.
Yeah, you can't. You can hookshot to those rocks when they are singular rocks, but you cannot hookshot to them when they're a pile of rocks.
Yeah, because your hookshot will get caught in the pile, and then you just be stuck. Yeah, at this rate, since Pod is a Pendant Dungeon, pedestal will not be the bow, so we will not be seeing a pedestal seed this morning.
Yeah, there's
at
pretty
least
much...
with this race, so.
There's like nothing except maybe the mirror shield there now that would actually be a not couch cash sort of item. So this is what I thought ACM might do. He has already shown he is more willing to do dungeons before Overworld, so just going straight into Swamp Palace here is kind of what I expected would happen.
Not a bad idea, especially with 6 items there. Also, now we know, because I didn't see it earlier, but T-Rock is Bombos. So Crrool is gonna really need to go check north of Graveyard and Quakefish. Like, that little area's high value if he wants to finish this race before ACM.
Oh, silver arrows, that's pretty good. What did I say though? It was gonna be that 1 in 3. It's just the way that it works for me every time, so unfortunately. Neither player has checked Bombos yet, but I expect ACM is probably going to do that after doing Swamp, just because he's in the area.
Yeah, I would bet that as well. Might as well. But yeah, here we have, for Crrool, it's a bit of a time loss. He got the silver arrows, but with no bow, he can't use them. And not having Bombos, he couldn't do T-Rock while he was up there, so that's a little bit of a time loss at this point.
Yeah.
He's going to go join ACM for a trip into Swamp Palace. Maybe with a high 5. I want to see if these players are going to do... I want to see what their routing is for this. I personally like to go straight to Argus and hope I get the item, get what I need on the way there. And if I don't, then I go back in and check the other spots. It also depends on where Big Key is, so...
Yeah. I originally just did the dungeon in vanilla, and then I think it was Karkat that told me, hey, you should try this, and then I've failed it a couple of times by accidentally flooding the key. But although if you do flood the key though, just swim across and go get those 2 chests before coming out of the place, because then you don't have to go back round. So you still lose time because you still got to screen transition outside the dungeon then do all of that, but at the very least you don't have to re-flood it afterwards, so it's a little random thing for
that's actually a good save if you mess up like that. I did not consider that, because usually I would just go,
I didn't consider it the first time I did it, and then I accidentally did it once in I think it was in one of the weeklies or something, and I was like, well, I messed up. I was like, oh, hang on, I can sort of salvage this and only
and the bow in Swamp. We are in go mode, baby, for ACM.
Oh, that is pretty good. So do you think he's going to check Hookshot Cave now? I don't think he will.
He doesn't need silvers. You know, we're going to see some Temper Sword strats from him, but at this rate, I don't know when Crrool's going to make his way up to, you know,
that's it.
The northern part of Dark World.
It's that kind of placement that if you're not thinking about the stuff that way, ACM's routing was just a little bit more effective in terms of going up into that obscure area. And that's something I like. There's a lot of people really, really shy away from going in places like that, and I maybe it's just because I'm a bit less a bit more risk averse even than people that way, but I tend to check a lot of these sorts of places if I'm just in the area anyway. I try and plan a way of getting items in that chain, like what ACM did going north Dark World, checking that graveyard spot, then going up to Catfish from there. And I do see a lot of people avoiding that, and sometimes, like here, that makes a gigantic difference. Just having boots this whole time has made a huge difference as well.
Yeah, all the little time saves you get from having the boots, making getting through rooms, and some setups are even like meant, you know, for the boots. So
yeah, is our bow for Crrool here?
Yeah, big key from Argus, which is why I like to go through Argus, because sometimes he's doing that, and I'm like, all right, that's fine, that's whatever.
Yeah, that's.
Now here's the problem though. With Crrool missing out on Bombos, Lantern, and the boots, do you think he's gonna do all of Skull? Like he skipped the 2 chests on the left. Looks like he's going straight for Argus, but he's gonna end up checking probably all these chests.
Yeah, he's got to come back in. There's no way with a dungeon like this, unless he already has both the map and the compass, which doesn't have map and compass by the end of this. And even then, you'll still have to come back in and get the big chest, which would probably have one of them just to spite you. So, yeah, I can't see there being any logical reason for him to check.
Now this is going to be a quick finish for ACM. All he has left to do is finish Armos, because he's already done all of Eastern, and then a quick skip through T-Rock, and he is, having picked up Desert Palace on the way, you know, throughout his routing as well, like, he does not have that much left to do.
So what are you reckoning as far as timing and sort of stuff here?
Well, it's hard to say because T-Rock can either be Vanilla Spot, which is like the worst spot for the big key, or it could be one of the first 3 chests, which is the best spot. So I could easily see, like... It also depends on G-Tower. You know, it's really hard to say.
It is.
Hard to say. T-Rock and G-Tower especially. I mean, if you do like a full clear of left side and then it ends up being in tile room, like it's like 10 minutes right there.
Alright, so assume worst case scenario then. What do you reckon?
Worst case scenario, I mean, 124.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Either way, this is going to be fairly well, especially with T-Rock being required, this is going to be fairly well competing with race earlier on.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know? And this hasn't been quite as free a seed as that either, because Pegasus boots were really far out of the way, and Turtle Rock is required. Mm-hmm. So that by itself, this is definitely not as much of a gimme seed as what they had earlier. So the sheer fact of it is competitive is ridiculous.
Yeah, I wonder how much of a time difference it is overall between getting boots early versus getting boots late. Also,
Carcat was telling me roughly 2 to 3 minutes per hour is the average sort of beneficial time for it.
Gotcha. But yeah, we will not be seeing a Fat Fairy check from ACM for obvious reasons. Also, getting the quick, super early, easy kill on Armos with that setup. If you don't have silvers, that's your next best bet.
Here's the other nice thing about the way he's rid of this stuff is that his 6th dungeon that wasn't Turtle Rock, obviously, was a Light World dungeon. So he was immediately able to just go flute straight out.
Ooh.
Getting messed up a little bit by the Dead Rocks there, but...
Dead Rocks getting in the way. These guys are so annoying.
It's frustrating in a way because it's definitely possible to... Oh, he does need that key still. It's definitely possible to knock them out with an item, but it requires, I mean, powder or quake, basically.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of time and annoying menuing. A slight thing from Crrool here: if you've got the hookshot going through here anyway, use the hookshot on that pot there.
Yeah, skip across
go from
a little
there
bit.
instead. Yeah. Like, I know I probably just sounded hyper nitpicky during this race, but to be honest,
at this point in the tournament, like this is day 19 or something, 20.
Yeah.
We can start to be nitpicky about these little time saves, and having this little bit of information is just helpful to anyone that's trying to tighten up their routing and execution of rooms and enemies and bosses and all that good stuff.
And I imagine, like, we didn't even really talk about the bombs and stuff at the start, because by now it's more or less common knowledge that you want bombs in this game.
Right. You can only tell chat about the bombs and escape so many times.
Exactly. So, I mean, I know you've done more of these than I have, but even I've done about 7 or 8 things by now, and it's just you don't really need to.
Same for me, about that same. All right, let's hope for big key early in T-Rock.
Yes. Oh, that's interesting. Going this
right
way
side
around
instead of doing the compass room. I mean,
I don't think
you're doing 2 chests in 1.
I don't think it makes much of a difference either way. I just, for some reason, I always default to going the other way around. So.
Ooh, nice! Getting that quick hook shot. I don't know if it's just what.
Is he planning on mirroring? Because I'm wondering why you would take that hard if you're not planning on mirroring here. Yep, there we go.
2 keys.
So that's why he went that way around. Okay. I've seen a couple of people do it that way. I think I had a conversation with Fantasy Fur at one point about that.
Yeah.
Thinking, well, it's probably about the same either. Maybe it's a bit quicker doing it this way if you've got the execution to back it up, but...
Oh, there we have it. Beautiful. This will be a quick T-Rock then. Now, we still need a few more keys, so we might see ACM go and check like the big chest, hoping there's a small key on there, or... The idea is that we don't want to have to go to that room with all the eye lasers.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Crrool getting a quick 300 out of the Bombos tab there. So I've just realized there's a lot of crystals and stuff we should probably update it by now, but oh well.
I've updated. Let's see. He just finished Swamp, so he hasn't done Eastern or Desert because he doesn't have the boots. So yeah, just Swamp. That's the only one.
Okay. It looked as if there should have been more from that, but I guess that's just the nature of this scene.
I mean, we're only an hour and 7 minutes in.
This is true. This is true.
I remember I've had seeds where my first crystal is at 1 hour, so
yeah,
it's not unheard of.
No, I guess it's just because obviously ACF is already near the very end of this. It just feels like there's so much more that needed to have been done, but I like hitting the wall.
I've never seen that. That was amazing.
That was a perfectly synced wall too.
It's like, what do you even do?
There was no way around that.
I've had a good life. That's funny.
Could you have bonked off of the crystal switch blocks to get around that?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it works the same as like in Ice Palace. You can like bonk off the wall, but you might get hit by the fire rod.
I kept trying to bonk off the wall, and it never worked. So I'm not sure if it works the same way with that, but that's the only way with his tools that I could have thought of getting around that, because he never picked up the powder. Powder was kind of out of the way, so.
Oh, and ACM picking up... I guess he picked up all the keys he needed from the beginning. Yep. So...
Yep. Every chest was the small key, or the big key. So when you have that situation, if you pick up the 1 key from the pokey, then you don't need to check any other chests.
I want that T-Rock. Doing all of T-Rock is... especially looking for the ice rod. Yeah. It's horrible. Oh, nice. Actually killing the mini Helmasaur with that dash.
Sometimes it does work out that way. Most of the time it doesn't, but sometimes you do actually get that.
See, I like this choice. A lot of players have been deciding against doing the cane dash for that room. Though that looks pretty, swaggy. Like, if you miss the dash, then you just miss in time. You just waste in time.
Cane dashes and fire rod dashes are 2 things which I've never really done. I know it looks really cool when you do the cane dash, but I've never really done.
Pyro
Get the
dash.
ice there.
It's really only used in that second lamp room after the gauntlet.
You can use it in Skull Woods too. I see Christos doing that quite a bit. Where, yeah, I think I saw Mike DeVito do that as well actually in his last race, where he used the fire rod dash to hit the last torch and then go into the next room.
All right, just hitting an hour and 10 minutes, almost on the dot when grabbing that last crystal. What an insanely quick seed this has been for ACM.
If
we all the right choices.
If we get Crrool missed the silver arrow on the Igor there. If we get a god tier of Ganon's Tower here, we might see this beat the previous race time from Ben earlier
we're gonna need it to be on the lamp or in the first two chests on the right.
It's gonna have to be early, and Chad is already getting the guesses in without this prompting. This is good. We have indoctrinated them enough.
I mean, day 19, chat knows what they're doing. They don't need a babysitter anymore at this point.
The indoctrination is real, though. It's good to see.
Now, silvers were in Hookshot Cave, which ACM got into go mode before having to go there, so he never got them, nor the Butter Sword, which was in Spike Cave.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Here we go. I'm also hoping for an early. I want like the first 5 chests. Here we go. Well, there's a key. He could do right side, but probability states that left side is a better choice.
Yeah, at least there's the option of that. It's kind of funny because in my last race with Wild, I actually did go right side because there were 2... Oh, Bob's gonna live. There were 2 small keys in those first 2 chests, so I was like, well, let's just go right side then. You've given me 2 keys. It's, you know... And I found silver arrows over there, which was great, but it turns out Bob's chest actually is what had the big key in general. So if I'd have kept going after going through that, I could have actually had it, but I didn't take the chance because there's not a whole lot of reason to go around that side after that, and yeah, didn't work out in the end, but
you know, it's a gamble. Also, I'm curious, what happened to Crrool? Why did he was going to that
he took the gamble. He took the gamble of
Armos having that.
Yeah, and so he has to go back
that's a tough gamble to take.
Especially when you don't have Pegasus boots.
Yeah, I'd say just do all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've already mentioned I'm kind of risk averse in these things, but I would also say just take the time loss either way. Really, if you're going to do the dungeon and you need items, then just do get all the locations if you don't already have every item before then, which does happen. It's possible that Map and Compass are Armos and this big key chest, respectively.
Well, we already know that this isn't going to be anything useful, so...
That's not the item I would have considered using there, but... The cape, yes. Cane burner, not so much. With the
antifaries and all the enemies in that room...
Yeah.
If you want to lag the room some more...
Yeah. The cape is good for that room. Oh, the Godly Arrow.
Are we gonna see?
Oh no!
Oh man, is it Bob Chest?
It could be Bob Chest. So where is Crrool? Oh dear, Crrool is going into
check desert, and
has he done desert? No, he is not yet.
So he's gonna go in there hoping that it's in there. Looks like he's gonna. Oh,
this isn't a good choice. He can't be going in here first.
Players, I see players do this every now and then where they're like, I can just go straight and take out Lammola. I mean, I have the fire line. He just realized. No. Yeah. He was grabbing the small key.
Oh, okay.
Interesting choice.
This actually cost me a couple of positions in the weekly at one point, where the seed was technically bootless because this was a required dungeon, but small key was on the thing here. The catch, the boots were in a chest in Thieves Town, which was a pendant dungeon.
There you go. That's the thing. Is I don't think I would do this.
No.
I especially because there's no way the boots can be behind those doors.
Yes, that's it, and that's the only thing that he needs. So, well, no, he needs bombos too. So, but even then, there's not a whole lot. Oh, it's right side! Oh boy.
Alright guys, at this point, are you thinking to yourself, man, those 2 keys I got at the beginning, maybe I should have done right side?
Well, he only got 1 key technically, 2 chests, but...
Well, he got 1 from each of those in the first room.
No, it was I think it was a heart container.
No, I'm saying in the first 2 chests of G-Tower, he got 2 small keys.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it was a thing, but again, doesn't matter.
I am right. GamerCal is wrong. And I'm the one that just woke up like 2 hours ago, so... What does that say?
Oh, well. Maybe it's just I've been out too long, who knows? These Gyptos annoy me so much, like, I just cannot get a quick way through that.
There it is!
There it was!
And Smart, checking 1 more chest. I'm sure he's still, like, looking for butter, looking for silvers, so...
Yeah, I mean...
With a time of 1:15, you're thinking to yourself, there's no way I'm in last. Like, there's no way I'm behind. So... And it's ACM.
See, some people are saying it wasn't so, but again, doesn't matter.
Check the tape, check the tape. It was 2 keys. I remember them fondly. Because in my head, I'm like, 2 keys. Okay, well now I should go do right side. Because my rule is, if I get a small key there, I do right side first. But that's just me. I'm a madman, so... Alright, we're checking the bumper cave, seeing the piece of heart. Hopefully now he's gonna make his way over to north of Greater.
Yeah, it looks like that. It looks like that's what he's gonna do. But I made no mistake with stuff here. This is still a really solid time from Crrool. Because the only stuff that he's missing is the stuff to do Desert and Turtle Rock. Desert's pretty quick by itself. Turtle Rock, we know is going to be fairly quick this time. But even then, we're still probably looking at a mid-130 sort of time here. It's not bad in the slightest.
It was 2 keys. I don't care what you're saying. It was 2. I remember what I saw.
That snipe on the arrow down there, though. That is wonderful.
Cool, finally picking up those bombos. But at this point, it is a little too late. But that's just the thing. You never know where those items are going to be.
I'm still deeply disappointed that we didn't see any Fire Rod Gauntlet. And you've got Quarter Magic, come on. Fire Rod is just...
Fire Rod, especially against the Stealthos, it's good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd use them against the Horse Folk, but...
I sometimes use it against that one that tends to sneak up in the top left in the 3rd room. Yeah. I sometimes use it on that one because it's just so irritating to get to. But most of the time, yeah, it's for the Stealthos. But you can wipe out that 2nd room in like about 2-3 seconds with it, and that one Stealthos in the Ice Room and the last room of Gauntlet you can hit with a Fire Rod every time when you get into that room at the start, and then you just walk on over to the red guy and splash him once. I don't know, I may have an over admiration for the Ice Rod, the Fire Rod, I'm sorry. I just like to use it, it's really fun.
Especially, I mean, Fire Rod with Quarter Magic, that's like 25 uses or something ridiculous?
32 uses. You get 8
32?
uses. You get 8 uses of regular magic, so it is 32 uses of the
So wait,
Fire
8,
Rod.
16, and then 32?
Yeah.
I like that.
So...
I like that.
It's fantastic. It's why it is by far my favorite thing in the entire roundup.
Alright, now Crrool
Fire Rod is already just crazy.
Come back and finish out Desert Palace.
Yep.
And he is now in go mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunate not having bombos when he was up checking Hookshot Cave, because he could have just gone right over and finished T-Rock, and he would not have been... He wouldn't be as far behind. But then at the same time, being in go mode before going to T-Rock just makes that dungeon so much easier, because you don't have to check like Mimic Cave and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
quick Motorn too?
I should just say...
Validated.
Oh, the mirror shield was there! I should just say again, though, that being in go mode before 1 hour 20 is still freaking good, you know? there are so many seeds where you cannot say the same thing at all with that. And said Go mode also only being 2 dungeons left to do, that is still really solid. Oh, only 2 hits off it this time. No Ben luck on the aggro fight here.
Guys, I was wrong. It was a hard container. I was thinking it's I've only been up for 2 hours. Leave me alone.
Still an incredibly solid first double hit every cycle there, though. So very strong aggro fight from ACM, as I guess you would expect. But even then, I think it's even the best players can get RNG that just messes them up in that. If aggro goes in, the real aggro goes into a corner, then good luck getting more than 1 hit, right?
Oh yeah, because you can sometimes hit him into a corner, and then the real Aghanim that's throwing one of the fireballs, it'll sometimes hit the edge and just
I've actually seen that a couple of times.
It's really frustrating.
Oh, breakfast Ganon. I mean, technically it's still morning for you, so I suppose that sort of advice might actually still work out.
Yo, cheers again. I got my coffee, so that's my breakfast.
Also, just gonna say that wonderful 1 cycle on the best phase with Tempered there. Never did quite work out how to do that myself.
Oh, it's really tight, especially getting the double hit bouncing off of the trident. It's not that hard to get. It's just sometimes if you miss a split second of getting another input in, because you have to do, it's the sucker punch plus 2 more slashes, then charge your sword to like kind of sneak yourself right in between the 2 of them, Ganon and the trident. It's really hard. You just got to practice that a lot. But
yeah, that was really cool. Did you see that? Getting straight away as soon as the last phase started there, getting a hit as he was teleporting the first time.
I expected nothing less from ACM, and especially with having the quarter magic, using the fire rod the entire fight is going to make it so that these 12 hits he's got to get are going to be so quick. Usually, without oftentimes if you don't have like the magic upgrade, you have to use the lantern and occasional fire rod unless you're like running low. But now he'll be able to get like 3 hits in each cycle.
So the thing with using the fire rod instead of the lamp here is that the fire rod, when you use it whilst you've got your sword charged, as demonstrated right there, actually lets you maintain the sword charge. But if you use the lamp, then it stops your spin from charging. So it can be more annoying to actually get the hits off, because if he goes, say, top left corner, then you can use the fire rod on the torch, and he's already up there. You can just keep the spin held till he goes. And a big old GG to ACM there. Fantastic time.
Moving into second place with the fastest time so far in this tournament with a 1:22.16.
Yeah, that's
right behind the race we had earlier today.
So the fire on the right-hand side doesn't go out because of the torch glitch. It's exclusive to the Japanese 1.0 version as far as I know, which is what the Randomizer is built on. It's what speedruns play, so there's that. And if you light the left-hand torch before the right-hand torch goes out, then the right-hand torch just never goes out. It just forgets that it's a torch. So it...
ACM didn't think it was a fast seed. Yeah, Bowbean and Swamp made things a lot easier because we didn't have to see any Dark World or any Pendant dungeons. Like, at all. No Skull Woods, no Pod, no Mire, and like Pod Mire being super long Pendant dungeons.
Yeah.
That's not having to go there, like, saved a lot of time. So, congratulations, ACMLM, on your first place finish. And this is the first race of the group. So,
what a way to start it off, eh?
Yeah, the 1:22. Jeez. Of course, I don't think ACM will be here for an oral interview, a talk interview. But
my,
if he is in chat. I don't know if we have any questions. I don't know if he'll be willing, if he's here to answer them. He might be already gearing up for the weekly starting in 30 minutes.
I always love that. Legal jokes for sale.
But yeah, that was quite a bit of a showcase. Silver Arrows were in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah.
And Butter Sword was in Spike Cave. FYI. Ooh. Crrool having a little bit of trouble right there, almost getting knocked off the platform.
Yeah, it's always weird with that section. Usually it's the jellyfish.
They're always hard to hit.
Yeah, usually it's the jellyfish that tends to get in the way, and I just kind of the Stalfos, but can still be in the way.
The only thing I really have to ask ACM was, your trip inside of Eastern Palace super early didn't really pay off because you didn't really have to do any dark world or like dark rooms except for T-Rock, which was interesting to look at. But actually, I don't know. Checking Eastern, honestly, it's not even really a question because like checking Light World dungeons, regardless of whether you can beat them or not, is still good. There's always a good chance that an item will be in there. This is the first time we've actually seen Desert Palace not have something required.
Yeah,
which is a little bit of a shocker to me. But seeing as everything else, we had pretty much found everything at that point. You know, wasn't really expected of much to be in there. And with Boots being in a weird location and Big Key being on the lamp, it kind of like, you know, solidified that there wasn't really going to be anything there, possibly anything there. Magic powder was purple chest.
Yes.
And blue boomerang was, where was
the blacksmiths?
Blacksmith, yeah.
Just a bomb boost out of the Master Sword this time.
Yeah, we never got to check that, so this is the first time we're seeing this.
Would have been amusing if the fighter shield was there. Actually, I would like to see what it would say then.
That would not be valuable.
Well, no, but it would be funny.
But yeah, that was just incredible routing. I mean, whatever like gambles you made that didn't pay off, you ended up catching up pretty quickly. What really paid off was you checking north of Graveyard for Bombos and Quakefish much earlier than Crrool did.
Yeah.
And I mean, Crrool hasn't stepped inside any Pendant dungeons either, so he's not really that far behind, but still very remarkable.
Yeah, it's always great to see that sort of logic come through, especially as I think I saw mentioned during the race as checking such a quote-unquote far out of the way location as the Catfish. A lot of people are really hesitant to do that, and how cool just getting the fireballs off screen. It's really nice to see when that pay off for once, because there's so many times where you want to just check them, but it takes so long to do that most people shy away from it, and then you get seeds like this where there's something absolutely awesome there that you really need, and it's nice just to see the routing sort of work out there. Crrool going for the Fire Rod strat first rather than Ice and Knot. Fortunately getting the switch off here. Kind of a shame, but it's okay. It can't be 0 bonks, Greenland, because there was the mandatory bonk to get the big key in Desert Palace. So it can't be 0, but...
Yeah, I just want to say, overall, like, amazing performance from both of our players.
Yeah.
They kept it relatively close. The big problem was just the Bombos, the gatekeeping Bombos medallion, as well as the boots. So I'm excited to see where Crrool heads up in G Tower.
That's a solid statistic to see there. Considering how many items were checked in Ganon's Tower. 131, with like 22 or something checked in GT, right? So that is a solid statistic to see.
Also, ACM grabbing that mirror shield right after Moldor 2.
That was classic.
Not particularly useful, but still funny.
Not at that stage, but...
That chest always, I don't know. Probability states that I feel like it always has something semi-useful.
No, it almost never does.
There was an SRL run last night that was it was like a 5 or 6 person, I believe ACM was also taking part in that, where Molten 2 chest was the silver arrows.
I actually have had that before as well, but
Same.
the majority of the time that I have it, it's the compass that's up there. I'm just like, yeah, thanks. That's exactly what I need right now.
If you get the quick movement into a key door, I don't think it counts as a bonk. If you miss it in bonk, obviously.
Yeah.
Ooh, 8 bonks. Oh my gosh. Now that's an incredible sight. Is that the lowest bonk count? Oh wait, we did have
that menu time though.
A 205. Now that's...
I've never even seen a menu time that low. Good lord.
That is efficiency. The only way you could really do a hookshot-less run is obviously if the dun swamp was not required, or if the player knew how to hover to get past Molten 2. There was a bootless run, I believe in the name of DT, one of his races early on, the first week. I don't think he ever found those boots. This is a frustrating room.
Yeah, it really is.
I like to use my hookshot to stun these guys so that they can't hop around like that.
Yeah.
And trying to hit them from the bottom, oh my gosh, that's so frustrating.
It's really annoying when they get stuck in those top corners because your sword can't reach them.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, you can't really hit them with much of benefit. It's, God, stop, let me go, please. I'm trying to do a race here.
Crrool's looks like he's heading up the left side, so he's going to be doing a full clear as well. Unless he just has some sort of moment of, I should check right side.
Yeah, Crrool doesn't have a shield because there were no shields anywhere in the rest of the run.
Not a single. That's crazy. Usually you at least get one, but not until Molten 2. But I mean, with neither player stepping into any of the Pendant dungeons, there's a lot of items that we didn't see. I mean, let's see, we had 5 in Pod, 2 in Skull, and 2 in Mire, so a lot of options there.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate that we know where the big key is here in the compass room, as it is in 90% of the seeds that I play, it seems. So, to be honest, that was the only other reason why I took that gamble in the race, against Wild, because it's, almost every seed I play seems to have it over this direction, so I may as well, with 2 small keys in the first 2 chests, just go for it.
It's one of those things where it's if you think you're behind, you got to take a huge gamble, because probability states that left side is more probable since there are more chests over there. Mm-hmm. But doing a full clear of the left side without getting the big key is very, very time consuming.
Yeah. It was interesting within that race though, because silver arrows are in the compass room, but half magic was in the rando room, the one that you have to bomb into and get the switch and stuff there. So in the end, I ended up getting both, but if it was a case of, if I just followed Wild and went left side, then I lost anyway because he was far enough ahead that Silverless would have killed it. But going over to the other side as well, if I'd have kept going, might have been a bit more, a bit closer. But it's the sort of thing you just don't really know. But the difference that silver arrows make can definitely help out, even against people who know Silverless and do it really easily. Naturally, not enough in this particular race, but we have seen races more earlier in the tournament, but we have seen races that have actually come down to knowing Silverless. And now ACM doing what Christos did in the first race that he did as well, and showing us some glitches here, which is always fun.
ACM with the distractions.
Oh, it does still transfer over. Okay, I was thinking it would, but.
Is that? I don't understand that glitch, but is it just from stepping inside the little, on the edge of the hole?
Yeah.
What?
Bonking intensifies!
Now, I've seen screen wrapping left and right, but I've never seen screen wrapping of this caliber before.
That's pretty good, I've got to say.
That's funny.
You know the worst thing about this room?
Finally get the big key.
The worst thing about this room is that one Gibdo that starts at the top of the screen. So sure, you can kill the other two when they're going down, but then that second, that third one that comes down is always going to get in the way no matter what, and it's just so dumb, you know?
I mean, that's why usually if you have your fire rod out, I usually like to go ahead and clear them as soon as I can.
Yeah,
at least,
but
like,
odds are it gets stuck on the switch blocks though, so it only actually gets to come down when you hit the switch.
Well, there's the one that's like right below you. I usually kill the one in front of me and then the one to the left. The one that's up in the top area, I don't worry about. But
yeah, but it always gets in the way when you throw the second Samaria block. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, they always find a way.
So that's what's so annoying about that room. It's like, yeah, sure, you can kill the rest of them, but there's one that always gets in the way and just... So it's looking like, because of the placement of that big key, it's looking like Crrool is going to have a low 140 here, which is still a very good time. That's a time that most players will be very proud to have a time like that, especially for not having boots for so long.
It's only frustrating when the reason you're getting a lower time is just because of overworld item locations.
Yeah.
That's frustrating. Oh, I see ACM is...
on. Too bad.
What's he doing?
What?
Is he in the fake dark world?
What is going on? Right, okay then. So, yeah.
Nice pause screen. Oh, there it is.
Whoa.
Was that just like taking a long time, or?
I have no idea. I've not even seen that before. So, oh, fortunately, Crrool missing the silvers. Two of the silvers, anyway. I am terrible at the line roller fight, so I can't even
me too.
only comment here. I am so bad again this time.
I mean, even when I skip the bunny beam, like if I'm gonna grab a fairy, like I always get hit by something that knocks me out, or I'm like just like 2 or 3 pixels away from hitting him with the arrow.
And I'm terrible at the first one as well. Never mind with the fire specific, but yeah.
I mean, NMG Landmola 1? Ugh. Where you have to use arrows or bombs? Or fighter sword?
Yeah.
Oh, horrible. It's awful. Now, I know we were talking about where we come from as in regards to Link to the Past before doing this randomizer tournament. I personally, I've watched a ton of speedruns and had done some playthroughs of Link to the Past on like my Wii U Virtual Console or on my Super Nintendo, but I've only ever done one NMG run. I've mostly just been doing randomizer.
Yeah, same with me really. I followed Christos for quite a while, and I've obviously watched the DQ stuff, but I didn't really know any of the tricks before starting the stuff here. And it's kind of funny, like, a little bit sort of history. We've seen how important Silver's Ganon has been in some of the, especially, as I was saying, the earlier runs, but we've seen how important it can be. And the only reason I even learned that in the first place, because I played back in version 6, and for those who don't know, version 6 was more vanilla than what it is now, because the crystals and the pendants were not randomized at all, and the sword locations, and therefore silver arrows, were also not randomized. So you had to do Ice Palace and Misery Mire in order to get your crystals 5 and 6, and so normally I would get Golden Sword and Silver Arrows before going up to T-Rock, because that was always the final crystal. There was one run where I forgot to do that, and I was like, I worked out halfway through, I was like, I don't have silver arrows going out. That's fine, I'll just get the super bomb after I beat Aga Tower and such. And then I just kind of went on autopilot and fell down the hole anyway. And I got to the last phase, I was like, hang on a sec, where's my silver arrow? Oh. So I was like, well, okay, I've roughly seen how this is done before. I have half an idea of how to do it. Let's just try it. I had a whole bunch of potions and stuff anyway. And so it took me like 10 minutes or something, I think, to do the fight. But I did actually beat Ganon Silverless just from roughly remembering how the stuff was supposed to work. And it's oh, nice camera scrolling. It's interesting to think that I don't know if I'd have even considered doing Silverless before version 8 if it wasn't for just accidentally forgetting to get the silver arrows in one of the runs, you know? So, ACM has stuck himself in his own prison now by the looks of it. That's kind of adorable. And yeah, probably going to be a low 142 for Crrool here. He has silver arrows, so perfectly fine here, I think. Silver arrows, quarter magic cape if he wants to get through the first section super easy. And yeah, not really any worries here. Oh, we're gonna see potion stuff here. We're gonna see YBA come in. Yeah, that's essentially it. ACM is mostly just messing around at this point because honestly, why not? You know, it's interesting seeing things this way rather than just, you know, having a black screen on the other side for the end of the run. So, and yeah, I would say that is definitely interesting. What is going on here? Oh my goodness. So, Crrool just setting up the torch. There's nice timing on that, not just spamming the torch there, despite having quarter magic. So, spam the lantern, I should say. Good timing on that. Does need to go relight the thing now.
I just realized my mic was muted.
Oops.
Anyway.
ACM is secretly finished just about at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear.
GG to both players. Crrool with a 142. What was his official time? 142.17.
Fantastic time still. Dr. Wily has indeed been. Oh man, so that seed definitely happened.
Can we get a time for? Well, I mean, I think it's fair that we change Acmlm's time to reflect his second finish. So I believe he got there in a couple seconds early. Like,
yeah, he was about 7 or 8 seconds.
We're gonna give Acmlm a 142.8. How's that? But
I mean, despite everything here, it's funny because I think that Pegasus boots thing really did cost most of the time, and
alright, we're gonna get Crrool in here real quick.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey.
How you doing? Sorry.
Hold on, making sure that I can actually hear you too.
It's always a good thing.
So yeah, how about that race?
Yeah, how do you feel going up against the Acmlm?
I mean, I knew I was gonna lose, so there's no surprise there.
I mean, you didn't know. You kind
No,
of knew.
but I mean, I knew that the odds were not quite in my favor, so I just went for it and hoped for the best. Took a couple of awkward strats in the hopes to gain some time, but wasn't
you
enough.
Guys kept
in the
it
end.
pretty close for the most part. It just that Bombos medallion and boots. Finding them he found them very early. He also did like some light world dungeons early. Like he checked desert and eastern super early, finding the lantern, which didn't really play that big of a part. But it really, well, not really. A lot of it came down to routing options, and that Bombos tablet kind of hurt.
Definitely.
Or Bombos medallion hurt a little bit.
Not finding the boots was just painful, and I was just hoping that one of the two medallions that I had would suffice. Mm-hmm. Not having the lantern wasn't that big a deal for me, mostly because I was prepared to do that room in the dark if needed, and I knew that I didn't have to do Palace of Darkness or Mire, which I struggle with a lot more in the dark, so that definitely wasn't really an issue. But just not finding the boots forever was just... That's painful, and
it's such a wild place for them to be as well. Like, we were kind of joking about it at the time. I think I wanted to see Hookshot around there at some point, or was something else this is sort of the time that ACM was getting at. I wanted to see someone else up there, and then we were told if the boots are up there, that'd be hilarious. And then of course ACM was checking it, and 5 seconds later, boots thrown out. So we just sat there laughing for a second, like, oh my god, that's ridiculous. And it's hard because that particular spot is not a place where you really want to check unless you're already sort of rooting in the area. I think Will was saying when you're at the pyramid, you might go up and check, and of course you save quit at that point, unfortunately. But
I was debating whether I would go for it when I went for the pyramid. I was like, okay, I can either go there, which is a pretty big detour, especially without the boots, or I could just go for the dungeons I can already do. I mean, I could do ice, so I figured I'd go for that instead.
Yeah, you guys actually high-fived in ice, or at least we're really close to being together in Ice Palace, and then pretty much followed suit and going right into Swamp, right behind ACM. So doing those was a good option. The only problem was ACM having already had the Bombos medallion and the boots going into Swamp. He found the bow and then went and finished Argus and was immediately in go mode, while you went and had to finish all of Swamp. So that cost you some time there as well.
Yeah, I was just hoping to find the boots in one of those dungeons, and I knew that, if I would find the boots in one of those far-off chests in Swamp or something, maybe I'll have a shot at this. It wasn't very likely, but I figured, it's probably the only chance I'm going to get against somebody like ACM. And I was prepared to do East Side first as well, had he not finished before I even got into the dungeon. It was really strats like that I was like, okay, if there's any way that I can make this work, that's how it's going to have to go down. And, it ended up not really helping me, but also not really hurting me at the end of the day.
Yeah, because we sort of mentioned near the start, like, there's kind of 3 tiers as such of rando players. I think there's the people who do speedruns but haven't done as many randos, so they don't have quite as much of the routing experience. There's people like me and Will who have not done any speedrun stuff really, but have played a ton of randos, so we have fairly good routing and we can sometimes gain advantages there depending on the seed. And then you've got people like ACM who are godlike at both, so it's really hard to compete against that. And
exactly.
I think he did a very good job. Like, the times might not say it, but a 142 on the seed where boots was so far out and the Bombos was needed, was also in a really far out location. That is nothing to be sneezed at. If this was in, like the weekly, which is coming up in about 8 minutes, right? Then that would definitely be a solid high tier time, I think.
And also something to consider is that this is the first race in your all's group, and despite the fact that you're going up against ACM, there's still a fight for that second place position.
Yeah, I mean, this bracket was basically a race for second place, so we'll see how it plays out. I've got both of my other matches in the next 2 days, so we'll know by Monday.
Well, good luck to you on them. And,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us a fun race to watch. Thank you everybody who for coming out and watching. We got some other races coming up today, I believe on both channels. I got a race to go get ready for. It's a non-tourney race. But I gotta head out. Thank you guys so much. This has been Willard J. Bradley.
And I've been Gamer Cow.
Yeah, and I quickly want to thank both of these commentators. Be sure to follow them as well. Both of them
Get out of here.
fantastic racers at that. Gamer, I still need to beat one day.
This is true. So, slight fun facts for the people here. Every single race that we did in SRL the month before this started, Crrool ended up 3 or 4 minutes behind me. Without fail. No matter what happened.
3 or 4
Without fail.
One of these days. We'll stick around. We'll see the bonk count real quick. 4 bonks. Oh yeah, you did say that in chat.
Yeah,
so you beat ACM for the bonk count by cutting it in half. So we'll give you some extra points for that. How's that sound?
That is a very good menu time as well. Like,
yeah,
less than 4 minutes is really solid. So again,
real quick,
fantastic run.
Is it Crrool or is it Crrool?
Crrool.
Okay, cool. All right, we're good. We're good. All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much. I'm outie.
Take care, everyone.